Hey everybody, Stacey Murphy here, and I have said this before. It is my passion to remove any obstacles that stand between you and a successful vegetable and herb garden because it's my mission to help support 1 million people on that journey. And that's my commitment. That is my commitment. That's my purpose here in this world. So I wanted to shoot this video about commitment because I think it's really important. As somebody who grows food, I know that you're committed to a lot of things. You're committed to fresh food for your family. You're committed to health. You're committed to being connected to the earth. You're committed to enjoying being outdoors. You're committed to a lot of things. These are all the reasons why we love gardening. It's a homegrown health plan for our entire world, right? And so I wanted to shoot this video because I was on these 2 business trips the last 2 weekends, and many people came up to me and said, "Hey Stacey, I love what you're doing. I follow you, and I feel so bad because I have a tiny garden and I'm not doing much, or I don't have enough space and so I'm just doing this small little thing, or I used to garden and I let it go and so other things got in the way." And I wanted to shoot this video because I wanted to tell you that you can still be 100% committed to your homegrown health plan, and there can still be little gaps in the way. Maybe you're not gardening all the time. Maybe you have a tiny space. Maybe you're growing just sprouts indoors. I still think you're 100% committed to putting fresh food on your table. I do. So here's what I want to propose for you. I want to share this video so that you get in touch with why you are growing food in the first place, and then you can decide what your commitment is, and you can also decide what might be holding you back from those commitments. So here's the 3 things I want to share. The first is sit down for a couple moments. Maybe you take a couple moments outdoors and just breathe. Breathe and meditate. Meditation, all meditation really is just tuning in to what's going on. Some people, their brains go crazy. That's okay. Just tune in. And after a couple of minutes of just breathing outdoors, take a pencil and just ask yourself, why do I want to grow my own food? Just write down everything that comes to mind. And that's your big why. That's the thing that you're committed to. Now, take a look at that list. This is the second step. And what's holding you back from growing food if that's what you want to do? So if, let's say, you feel like you're not 100% committed if you don't have a huge garden, it's okay. Start small. Start in a container. Start with some sprouts indoors, whatever it is, and be 100% committed to growing those for 7 days, for 10 days, maybe growing some microgreens. Be committed for 21 days, and at the end of 21 days, you can go do something else. You can come back, and you can grow something else later if you need a gap in your time frame. So you can be 100% committed, and you can pick and choose those moments when you're growing food and when you're not. It's okay. We all have to make those choices in our life. So that's the second thing I want to propose to you, is that it doesn't matter how big and it doesn't matter how often that you're gardening, you can still be 100% committed to that vision, and you can still feel great about yourself. Because oftentimes what holds us back is that we feel like we're failing, that we tried it, that it didn't work, that we did a little bit and then we stopped and then we feel like a failure. You're not a failure. It just means you're not growing right at that moment. You're choosing that, and at a later date you can choose to grow again. So here's what I'm thinking. There's a spectrum of 100% committed all the way at one end, all the way down to like 0% committed at the other end, right? And at 100% committed, we know why we're doing it. It's a part of our daily life. It's a habit. It's a ritual. And we're doing it. And it doesn't mean that we're necessarily out in our garden every day even. For some people, 100% committed is that they spend 2 hours each week, 1 day a week, and they go and they do all their gardening. They harvest everything. They plant, they transplant, they maintain everything, and then they basically do nothing for a week. That's still 100% committed, and you are not out there every day of the week. Still 100% committed. And then I see people also at maybe like the 80% committed. And in this time frame, or in this place, I feel like what happens to people is they know why it's important. They know what they need to do. They're out there, they're making it happen. But every once in a while, things get in the way. Other priorities, right? We have a loved one we need to take care of, and we need to travel. Whatever the case may be, and you walk away from your garden for a little bit, and it's a time priority piece that keeps pulling us a little bit away from that garden, right? And so if that's your case where you're gardening but you're traveling during the summer, maybe what you do is you create a partnership and somebody else who may be around to help fill in those gaps so that your garden is well loved even if you're away. So if you have some other time commitments that are pulling you away, enroll somebody else in your vision. And it's not that hard. Trust me, if people are getting fresh food, they're going to love it. So what I did here in my house, I was away for the last 2 weeks. I showed all my housemates, I was like, here's what's happening in the garden right now. Here's what's for harvest. Here's how you cut it. Don't worry. And I told them, before I left, I said, don't worry if you cut something and it doesn't go well, I'm not going to be mad at you at all. It's okay. If something dies while I'm gone, it's okay. It's all good. And I just invited them to harvest and enjoy the garden. And I came back and it was well loved. It was well watered. It was well loved. I saw lots of things that people had picked, eaten, some things that they had maybe killed. It's okay. It's all good, right? It was loved while I was gone. So that's like the 80% commitment. Maybe you need somebody to join you in that mission to fill in those gaps of time. And then I see people in like the 50% committed category. And I feel like what happens in this category is there's like, I really want to do this. And it just seems like a lot of effort. And so I see this usually in more of the beginning stages, somebody who's been gardening for a year and it's like, God, I've been doing this. It's so much work. Well, you know what? That first year is a lot of work and you're learning so many lessons. And the second year, trust me, it gets way easier because you're just rinsing and repeating. You're doing it again and you're learning from last year. So if you're in that category of like on the fence, do I really want to do this again? I did this once and I don't know if I got all the results that I was looking for. Definitely do it again because your second time, it's going to be, you're going to get better results and it's going to be less effort. So if you're in that category of like, oh, I've been trying, but it's been a lot of work, I urge you to find ways to streamline the work. So I came home and I looked down at my garden bed. I'd been gone for a couple of weeks and things had just reseeded themselves. I've got tomatoes growing, I've got squash growing, cucumbers growing, Malabar spinach, all of it reseeded itself while I was gone. And I have to decide now whether or not I want to put up some greenhouses and keep them around through the winter or not. So there comes a time when things get easier if you have done this for a while, you know what to expect, and you have systems in place. So if you're in that category of 50% committed and it feels like a lot of effort, that means you need to systematize, you need to figure out what is easy for you and do those things and rinse and repeat them, all right? You don't have to grow everything. If chard is easy, just grow chard. That's fine. And then you cut all the effort. If let's say your tomatoes, we know they're delicious homegrown, but if they're a lot of work and you don't enjoy that work and it's a lot of effort, then grow something else that's easier and then you'll be 100% committed and you can go to the farmer's market and you can enjoy really beautiful heirloom tomatoes knowing that your garden is also thriving with exactly the things that are very easy, right? So tune in. What do you want to be committed to? And if it's a lot of effort, then maybe you're growing the wrong things for your climate and maybe there's a simpler way. All right. Now there's also I would say like the 20% committed people. These are people who really love fresh food and they like the idea of the lifestyle of having a garden, but they're like, oh man, wow, what does that look like? And I think that 20% committed is kind of a confusion. It's like, I don't know what to do. You know, it's like, I'm still learning. I'm still a beginner. So I would urge you to start with one thing and do it. You know, maybe I keep going back to sprouts. Maybe you grow sprouts for 10 days and try that out, learn something, keep iterating, keep doing that one thing until you master it and then move on to the next thing. Because I think a lot of us, when we garden, we want to do everything. And what happens is a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, and then we're not very committed because we're like, man, I don't even know what's going on out there. And it's just like, I don't even want to go look because I don't know what I'm going to find. So if you're in that category, again, you want to really simplify and tune into why it's important to you. And then, once you get clear on the why, your commitment's going to rise. You're going to be like, right, that's why I'm doing this. I'm so excited to do this. And maybe there's just one simple thing that you can tackle and learn. If you're learning, I remember when I was learning to work out and I was trying to get fit. I had no muscles and I really wanted to be stronger and I wasn't doing it. And the reason I wasn't doing it is I just didn't know which exercises to do in which order. And I just wanted somebody to tell me what to do. So that's why I'm here. I like to tell you what to do. So go look at all my other videos. They help tell you what to do. So if you're in that confusion state, really find some guidance, some good guidance, all right? And if you're in the 0% committed, you're like, I like the idea of all this, but I just don't want to do any of it. That's okay too. Find somebody else who loves to do it and just enjoy the fresh food. It's okay. We don't all have to garden. It's okay if you're not 100% committed like I am, right? That's okay as long as you know what you want fresh food, and you go and support the people who are growing fresh food in your neighborhood. That's awesome too. All right. So I hope this video helped you get in tune with why it's so important that you are growing food, and hopefully that helps you understand if you're not 100% committed, what's holding you back? And do you want to be 100% committed? And what would that look like for you? What actions would you take? How might you simplify things so that you can be 100% committed? Because that's what I want for you. When you're 100% committed, you know that you are rocking it, and you are rocking it. And I love when people reach that level, when they don't apologize to me when they see me and they're like, oh, I love what you do. Oh, but you would hate to see my garden. I don't want that to be you. I want you to be like, oh my God, I love what you're doing. And, I'm rocking the sprouts. I don't have much space, but I am rocking this little area. Or, whatever the case is for you. That's what I would love to see for you. All right. So take care, everybody. And below this video, what I'd love for you to share, why do you grow food? Why do you want to grow food if you're not currently growing food? And what's your commitment level? And if it's not 100%, what would it look like to be 100% for you? All right. Share those comments. I love you, and I'll see you on the next video.